Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the GMRS 1900 Net on this 12th day of May, 2020. This is Mike, WQIP 827, and I'll be your net control for the evening. Before proceeding with the net, I'm going to check for any stations with emergency or priority traffic. Any emergency or priority traffic, please call in now. Hearing none, if during a net there is any emergency or priority traffic, you're free to break in at any time. GMRS 1900 Net is a directed net where we discuss matters relating to GMRS and various other topics. While a directed net is in operation, all radio traffic must go through net control. This is normally held every Tuesday on the Phoenix High Power 550 repeater, transmitting 462.550 from the White Tanks at 7 p.m., also known as 1900 hours. The net is normally conducted utilizing the national travel tone of 141.3 hertz. If you do not have that tone installed in your radio, you should do so as soon as practical. Participation in the net is still possible using the regular club tone if you place your radio into monitor mode. All participants are encouraged to use monitor mode during the net to ensure that you don't miss anyone transmitting on a different tone. The GMRS 1900 Net website can be found at www.AZGMRS.org and is run by the Arizona GMRS Repeater Club. We start this net by asking for check-ins from our Zello users first. After that, I will ask for check-ins from our RF users. After check-ins are complete, we will pose our topic, ask for input. When you take your turn, we ask that you keep it short and to the point so that any questions or comments can be properly addressed by all. I would also remind you that when you are through with the conversation, please clear with your assigned FCC call sign. Is there any emergency or priority traffic before we continue? If so, please call in now. This is WQIP 827, hearing none. We will now take check-ins from our Zello users only. Zello users only at this time, please.
WRFB 925. David in Rialto.
Thank you, David. I have you. Any other Zello users only at this time? Zello users only.
WQZZ533, Jeff.
(533) Jeff. I copied. Thank you.
WRFB 925, Rialto, California, David.
Yes, David, I copied you. I have you on my list. Any other Zello users? Okay, hearing none. Let's take check-ins from our RF users at this time. Please check in two at a time with your name and call sign. And speak slowly, giving a few seconds of pause between transmissions so that I may write down the information.
WQDZ 664, Rich.
WRCM 701, Bob. Thank you, 664 and 701. Continue check-in. WREL 486, Les.
WRCG 637, Steve.
Thank you, 486 and 637. Continue check-in.
WRFV 254, Mike.
Thank you, Mike, and welcome, 254. Don't be shy, guys. Any other check-ins out there?
WQZ645, Gary.
WQWI942, check me in and right back out, please.
Thank you, 645, Gary. And Chris, I got you checked in and out. Thank you.
WRFJ 362, Ryan.
362, Ryan, got you. Thank you and welcome. Any other check-ins?
WFJ 361, Todd.
Copy, 361, Todd. Any other check-ins before we continue?
WQWR847, Roy, checking in and out.
Thank you, Roy, for taking the time. Appreciate it. Got you checked in and out. All right, one last time before we get started. Any other check-ins, please call in now. All right, we'll check back in just a little bit. Thank you to everybody that checked in. Tonight's topic is, what radio mods or installs have you done lately? And 925, David, I know you're out on the road. What you got going?
Well, I thought about this the other day, and it was curious to me about how everyone else in Phoenix with a mobile install, how the heat affects their equipment. Has anyone had any mobile radios that were damaged due to high heat in Phoenix? That's the question that I wanted some input from other members. I don't really have many mods. I do have an N60 network radio that I use Zello, and that's about it. WRFB 925.
Thank you, David. I've not had anything personally. Some of the rubber feet on some of my test equipment gets a little soft from time to time. But we'll pass that on and see if anybody answers out. And again, I appreciate you taking the time while you're out there on the road. 533, Jeff, what do you got for us tonight?
WQZZ533. I only have kind of a couple of small things that may not really qualify. Based on the suggestion of one of our members at the antenna net, I tried out one of those little window mount antennas for the rubber ducky on my car brake. And I've actually been pretty happy with it. I use it for my portable scanner in the car. And then the only other real modification I've done is just updating my scanner programming. I have a Bearcat digital trunking scanner. I've updated it with the club channels. I am wanting to add a rooftop antenna and a mobile radio as a base in my workshop, but that'll be off for a while. WQZZ533.
Jeff, thank you for taking the time to join us tonight. And I don't believe there is anything such as a small thing. And when you mentioned that window mount, I know there's been at least 2 other users that I've talked to that were curious about that. And hopefully your test information will come in handy for them. Again, thanks for joining us. 664 Rich, you're next up.
Thanks, Mike. WQDZ664. My mobile, I haven't really done anything different with that in about the year that I've had the car. I had Tim's company do the antennas, and I put the radios in myself. I got the Alinco dual bander, and then the two scanners, a BCD 536 and a 996P2 break. But at home, I make changes to my shack on almost a monthly basis, it seems. So I'm always changing stuff here, usually about pretty much the same stuff, just rearranging it. And I enjoy doing that. And recently with the lockdown, I've been doing a lot of cleaning up and just rewiring to make sure all the cabling is nice and neat. WQDZ 664, back to Net Control.
Well, Rich, thank you for joining us. And as always, you got a good, strong signal coming through. So you're running something and you're doing something right there. Appreciate it. 701, Bob, you got anything for us tonight?
That's negative here. I'm going to have to take a pass. I'm in the middle of a phone call here. So have a good night, everyone. WRCM 701 is clear.
Thanks, Bob. Appreciate it. How about Les? You're next up.
WREL 486, Les. Thanks, 827. Yeah, I'm actually broadcasting now on I put a Maxon 8402 with a layered antenna there's a bracket that mounts inside the hood for height issues. And so I'm on that now, but I just got that set up and tuned up last week.
It's a great signal. Yeah, sorry about that, Les. Guess you got covered up with the identifier. Did you say you have your antenna mounted on your hood?
It's off the side of the hood, so it mounts. You screw it in. You open the hood, and then you screw the bracket in, and then you close the hood, and the antenna sits just off to the side. So it's like an S-shaped bracket with a mounting surface for inside the hood, and then it shoots out to get out of the way of the hood when you close it. And so yeah, that's what I'm using for the antenna mount due to height on this vehicle.
Oh, awesome. Is this the truck? I think it was you got a big Ford?
I do have the Ford, and that one I run a little 6-inch quarter wave. I think Tim called it over at Procom to limit my height problems, and then when I go out, I have a longer one that I throw on, and that's on the hood. This Nissan NV is actually taller than that one, and so I'm using that no ground plane off that hood mount because I couldn't, I wouldn't be able to park any place at my place that's covered without doing it that way.
Well, from what I'm hearing, you must have done something right because the signal is strong and crystal clear.
Very good. Glad to hear that. Hey, thanks for taking the net tonight, 827 and WREL 486 back to net.
All right, Les, thanks a whole lot. Let's see. Looks like we got 637. Steve, you're next up.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Thanks for doing the net again. I haven't done anything recently. Basically, I got the truck with the hood mount as well. Like he was just talking about where it offsets. And on the side-by-side, I made a plate out of sheet metal and made my own quarter wave 6-inch antenna. Works great. That's what I'm talking on right now. In fact, I'm sitting in the garage talking. And it works good. Like I said, the SWR was flat on that. It does an outstanding job. WRCG 67, back to net.
Good job, Steve. It sounds great, nice and clear, and good, strong signal. And thanks for joining us tonight. So let's see. Next up, we have 254 Mike, and this would be his first time on. And your radio mod would obviously be you just got it programmed today.
WRS Mike. Yep, that's correct. No mods as of yet. As I mentioned earlier, I am on a AZGMRS V1. I know it's not the greatest, but you got to start somewhere, and I'm kind of dipping my toe into the water here, so hoping to learn a lot from this group. Maybe take some bigger steps into the pond here shortly, but for now, I can hear you all well. I hope you can hear me. WRS 254, back to that.
Yeah, you got a good signal, quite a bit of static in there. You're in the Phoenix area. Are you inside a house or inside a building?
254, I'm in North Phoenix near the 51 and 101. Out in my backyard, I did just stand up. Is that any better? 254?
Yep, it's amazing how much a little height changes things, even as much as maybe 3 to 4 feet.
Good to know. I'll look into an extended antenna maybe as my first mod. 254, back to that.
Yep, thanks very much for joining us tonight. And yeah, that made a huge difference. Looks like we got 645. Gary, what's going on?
WQZ 645. Good evening to the net, and thanks for taking the net again there, Mike. Before I get into any changes that I've made here, I just had a quick question for you. Did you find anything out about what's going on with our meeting location?
I left a phone message for the manager, and I have not heard back. I will check with them tomorrow because I'm going to be over in that way. I'm just going to stop by. We do have a group, at least out of here at Village Inn, and we've got clearance to come back over there tomorrow, so that's a good thing. Things appear to be opening back up.
Okay, that sounds good. I appreciate you checking on that. Okay, we will know what's going on with the meeting here pretty soon, it sounds like. And I know that I believe it was David that asked if anybody had any problems with any of the equipment failing or having a problem because of heat. And I know that I've got my Motorola CDM 1550 in the truck on a 5/8 wave PC-TEL antenna, and both of them are working really good. That Motorola just gets toasty hot and just keeps on going. I mean, nothing seems to stop it. The only problem I have is I've noticed on the antenna that the rubber seal is starting to get a little cracked up from the heat and a little old looking, and I may have to go ahead on the antenna and replace that little seal there. Other than that, it seems to be working great. Reset. And the only thing really new is on the base station. I decided to get a Diamond X50 C2 base antenna, and I put that up recently, and it seemed to be doing pretty well. No problems with it at all, and really good SWR. So that's basically all I have, and I will turn it back to Net. This is WQZ 645.
Yeah, Gary, your antenna choice, I think, was really good. Your signal's always been good and strong, but really good as of late. And speaking of the heat, I've had a similar situation leaving some of the mobiles out in the car. The antennas tend to turn a little bit gooey, and the rubber actually just slides off of them from time to time. Let's see, I'm going to make one more call out to see if we got any late or missed check-ins. Let's go ahead and call in now.
WRFM 610.
610, Darius, I got you.
WRDN 953, Doug.
And 953, Doug, I got you. Any others? Okay, guys, thank you. Let's see. Next up on the list is Ryan. Come on, dude. I know you got something.
Hey, Mike. Thanks for hosting the net tonight. Yeah, I basically kind of followed, the things that you recommended. I went ahead and put a WindGuard DS 2000 universal 22-inch, like a satellite antenna mount on my house, and then I put with the Tram 1465 LAN mobile ground plate kit, about 100 feet of RGX, RG58X, and I'm just talking to you on a little handheld radio that's plugged into, and I'm enjoying it. Back then.
Yeah, it sure changed the range and the quality of that mobile unit, didn't it?
Yeah, it sure did. It's pretty neat. I'm looking forward to trying out some Simplex stuff too this week.
All right, I'm glad things are working out. It's a learning experience.
Yeah, it sure is. Just when you think you're ordering the right stuff, you might miss an adapter or two and end up waiting on Amazon for that. But yeah, I've got all the adapters. I've got extra adapters if anybody needs some now. It's kind of fun learning, going through these the learning curve, and you end up with a pile of stuff.
Yes, and I'll tell you from experience. Get you a box and just order adapters as you see them, because one of these days you're going to need one or want one, and you'll have it in your box ready for you.
Absolutely. Thanks again for hosting the net, Mike, and WRFJ362 back net.
Thank you very much, and Ryan, appreciate you taking the time out to join us tonight. Let's see, 361, Todd, you're next up.
Hey, Mike, thank you. I really don't have a whole lot of mods. I do have a label maker, though, and I wrote down a couple of the people that I talk to on a regular basis, and I put that on the back of my handheld, so silly mod just joke, obviously, but yeah, I don't have anything to offer other than that.
Yeah, a lot of static in there, but I heard all of what you said about the label maker. Yeah, and one of the big things I did with the label maker is put my call sign on the radio. It really helps the wife a lot when you're trying to get them to use the radio. If they have that call sign right where they can see it, it makes it a lot easier to ID.
It does, yeah, and I put my call sign on there before I had it memorized, because it was helpful, because I kept referring back to my emails on, wait, what the heck is my call sign? I gotta make sure I'm legit here, so. Anyways, it's more of a joke than anything, but WRFJ362.
All right, Todd, thank you for taking the time out and joining us tonight. Darius, 610, looks like you're up next.
Yep, the only mods I have is I have a antenna mounted on my roof, and I have that routed in through a window pass-through. Then in my car, I got the Goya window antenna clip, and I just put my handheld antenna on that when I'm in the car. Other than that, that's about it. WRFM610 back to net.
Oh, good. I think you heard that Jeff was working with one of those window clips. How's it working out for you?
It makes a world of difference. Before in my car, I just get nothing but static, and I can't transmit out. Just having that outside the car, a little bit elevated above the top of the car, it makes a world of difference.
Oh, good. I'm glad that somebody's actually done some testing on them. I'm probably going to pick up a couple of those, because I can just think right now, every once in a while, hunting season is coming up, and we'll do a little bit of caravanning and passing around the portables to keep in touch. So those might come in real handy to have.
Oh yeah, I would recommend it. WRFM 610 back to net.
And Darius, thank you for taking the time out to join us tonight. Doug, it looks like I have you up next.
Well, good evening to all on the net. About the only thing that I've been doing lately is that I finally got my base station up and running. I got my Yagi up on the patio roof, pointed toward the repeater, and I'm finally able to talk from my home location. So that's a step in the right direction. WRD 953, clear, back to net.
All right, Doug, and according to my list, I show you out in Santan Valley, and so I'm assuming that's very few people mention a Yagi, so I'm assuming that's the reason you're using it.
That is correct, due to the fact that my omnidirectional antenna is fairly low to the ground. I'm in an HOA, can't really get any elevation on it. I was having problems hitting the repeater, so the Yagi went up on the back patio, and it's pointed toward the repeater and seems to be working fine. How's my signal strength? Is the audio good?
Yep, coming from Santan Valley, absolutely. How many elements you got on it? Just curious.
It's a 5-element, and like I said, it is up on my patio roof, and I'm about 3 watts out of my radio right now, so I'm on low power. And it seems to be able to hit the repeater, no problem.
Oh, so not only are you using a Yagi, but you're using a handheld as well?
No, this is a mobile. I got a Kenwood TK8180, and I got it set on low power right now. But I can turn it up, but there's no need to if it's as long as it's hitting the repeater.
Well, congratulations. Yep, you're hitting it loud and clear, and very interesting comments. I appreciate you joining us tonight.
Not a problem, and thanks for doing the net. WRDN 953 is clear. Back to net.
Thanks again, Doug. Okay, before we conclude tonight, is there any late, missed, or check-ins out there? Go ahead and call in now.
664 with a follow-up.
Go right ahead, Rich.
Yeah, one of the prior participants asked about damage to the radios due to the heat. Back when I lived in Chicago, I had a 2006 type scanner and a couple others that the LCD displays got frozen due to the 25 below wind chills. And then that same year in the summertime, the displays got boiled in the summer heat going through the windshield. So I been keeping a towel in my vehicle for the last 15 years or so just to prevent that from happening again. WQDZ 664 back to net.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I've got a friend that decided to put one of the those nice little fancy little Midlands up on his dash. He's got a Jeep, and you know what? The heat and the little display, they don't like each other.
Yeah, and especially going through the window, that just kind of amplifies it. So even though I use the sunshade when I leave the car in the parking lot, I always cover the radio with a towel, especially during the summertime.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Thanks for that information, Rich.
Not a problem. WQDZ 664.
All right. Any other check-ins or comments before we conclude tonight?
645 info.
And go right ahead, Gary.
I just wanted to mention that we are still working on that basic two-way radio course and putting stuff together there. And as soon as, hopefully, when we get things back to normal, we can start putting that together and really open it up and set a date for it, and people can come on down for that. It's mainly for people who are interested, who are just starting in two-way radio and that kind of thing. But if anyone has any ideas or anything that they should think should be in that course, just send me an email. Appreciate it. Well, you can just send it to ESG@AZGMRS.org, and that'll get to me. And I'll turn it back to Net. This is WQZ 645.
Thank you, Gary. Good catch. Any other comments?
254 Mike with a follow-up.
Go ahead.
254, I would be very interested in that class. Please keep me updated. And also, just as an aside, I do also have a label maker call sign on the belt clip of my handheld. So that was the first thing I did to it. 254, back to Net.
Thank you, 254. And yeah, check the also the website from time to time. Check the forums. There's a lot of good information that shows up in there. Any other comments or check-ins before we conclude? All right, great night. This is WQIP 827. I want to thank everybody who checked in and participated in tonight's Net, and hope to see you all back here next week, and hope to hear you on the air sometime this week as well. Special thanks goes out to WPRR 517 for hosting the Phoenix High Power 550 repeater. This is WQIP 827, Net Control for the GMRS 1900 Net, returning the repeater to its normal operation. Everybody have a good evening.
This is WQZ 645. We're going to start up the Arizona Emergency Services Group Net in just a moment. Good evening. This is Gary, WQZ 645, and I'll be your net control for the Arizona Emergency Services Group Net. This net is normally conducted after the Tuesday night 1900 Net concludes. The Arizona Emergency Services Group, or AESG, is part of the Arizona GMRS Repeater Club. The volunteers in our group, a unified team of licensed GMRS and amateur radio operators, receive training and also conduct exercises to expand their skills. And we have members that have a GMRS license, and some that also have a GMRS and a ham license. We always encourage our team to increase their knowledge and training. Those who are dual licensed have an extra tool in their radio toolbox. Now, if you're interested in joining our group, just send us an email at ESG@AZGMRS.org. And the purpose of this net is to perform a regular test of communications equipment, provide training in emergency procedures, and exchange information related to preparedness. All nets, whether for training, exercises, events, or incidents, are directed nets. This means that all traffic must go through net control. In addition, stations should notify net control prior to changing frequencies or leaving the net. Any station may break in at any time with emergency or priority traffic. Is there any such traffic at this time? If not, we'll go ahead and continue with the net. And right now we will start up with checking to see if any station would like to fill in as alternate net control. If so, please call now with your FCC call sign.
WQIP 827.
Okay, Mike, you are set as alternate net control, and appreciate you taking that. Now, can we get stations to call in and check in with your FCC call sign, and go ahead and add 2 at a time with that.
WQZZ533, Jeff.
Okay, we've got 533 Jeff on Zello. Any other stations to check in? Okay, let me check one more time and see if we have any stations to check in for the AESG Net.
WREL 486 left.
Okay, we've got 486 less. Any other stations? Okay, we'll go ahead and continue with the net. We're going to just have a short net tonight. The AESG Alert Condition 4, which was put into place in March, was canceled on a Wednesday, May 6th. And it's been announced that the governor's stay-at-home executive order will expire this Friday, the 15th. And as things get back to normal, we're going to start having more training classes and more exercises. Been having some discussions with the amateur radio operators with Phoenix CERT, and we're looking at potentially getting together and having a exercise with them as well. And that'll be in the future. And in addition to that, we have several other courses that are kind of on standby status right now until we can get to a situation where we can have more training. And that's in-person training. One of those is going to be the RDF training course, and introduction to the ESG training course, net operations course, and an emergency radio operator course. Those will all be available here in the future. And in addition to that, we have a simplex exercise coming up in the future here, and we're going to. We now have. We had 4. Now we have an additional location that are monitoring and relay spots in the valley that are at elevated locations, and we're going to have an individual member at each one of these locations. And we're going to do some simplex testing and see how things work there with that. And these various locations, the monitoring and relay spots, a lot of information went into selecting those spots, and that includes their location in the valley, their elevation, their ease, and so you could just drive right up to the locations and that type of thing. And that's how they were selected. So we'll see how that goes. And soon we're going to be sending out an email. Reset. Okay, let the repeater ID there. And soon we're going to be sending out an email with information on each of the locations, and we'll see what operators would like to, which location each operator would like to be at. And you can go ahead and put in for those, and we will see if we can get ones that people would like to have there. Now, in order to participate in this exercise we're going to have in the future, the simplex exercise, individuals need to have a mobile unit set up and have either a mobile radio or an HT portable unit set up in the radio, connected to preferably a high gain antenna, so that operating simplex can work really well. We want to really test it out and see if we can relay a simplex message all the way around from the west side of the valley to the east side of the valley and back up to the north side of the valley, and see if we can get that to work. And of course, the scenario is in the event that repeaters are down. We want to see what type of capabilities we do have, and then also to monitor stations in the event that we need to receive calls and send them to the proper emergency services. And in addition to that, let me just go through those locations so you can start thinking about which one you would like to be at. And the first one is going to be at South Mountain Park. It's the Vista Point parking area at South Mountain. The elevation there is 1,460 feet. The next location is Usery Mountain Regional Park, the office parking area, and that's just prior to the park entrance gate there. Elevation there, 2,025 feet. The third location is Vision Hill Estates at 3915 West O'Reilly Drive in Phoenix at the turnaround there. Elevation there, 1,380 feet. And the fourth location is White Tank Library parking lot at the White Tanks Mountain Regional Park in Waddell, and the elevation there is 1,420 feet. And then the last but not least location is Thompson Peak Park at North Scottsdale, and that's at Thompson Peak Parkway and Hayden Road. So just start thinking about those and kind of see which one you would like to operate from there, and do some simplex testing with your radio there. And that's about all we have for the net this evening. Just want to check and see if there are any other check-ins for the net tonight. Okay, and any questions or comments about what we have been discussing so far?
WQZZ533 comment?
Go ahead, 533.
Yeah, Gary, I signed up for that Skywarn training online, and it appears that they've shortened it to 1 hour, and when I signed up, they still had some availability on May 14th if anybody else is interested in signing up and getting that basic training. And I was also curious, I put in a vote for Usery Mountain at this point. WQZZ533, back to net.
Okay, very good, Jeff. I appreciate that information, and go ahead and take a look at the email we sent out, I think last week. If you want the link to signing up for the Skywarn training, it looks like they still have some open positions And very good. We've got you down for usury there, Jeff. You're all set. I'll go ahead and let you clear with your call sign.
WQZZ53, back to net.
Okay, very good. Any other questions or comments on what we've been talking about tonight? Okay, very good. Our next net, next week, on Tuesday evening, subject will be what exactly needs to be done. You know how on all of our nets we always say, well, if somebody has emergency traffic, you can always call in. What happens if we actually have someone call in with emergency traffic on the radio? Do we just get off the air and let them call somebody? Do we help them out and get a message through to emergency services, the fire department, or the police department? And what number do we call? Do we just call 911? Do we call a specific number? Is calling 911 the right idea? Those are the kind of things we're going to talk about being an emergency radio operator next week on the net.
(827) for comment.
Go ahead, Mike.
Awesome idea. Absolutely awesome.
Appreciate that, and that kind of goes right along with one of those videos you made there that helps out in the training as well. Okay, any other comments or questions from the net tonight before we close it up?
WQYP 827 for ID.
Okay, very good. We will hope to see you on the net next week and have you check in. I'd like to thank everyone who participated in the net tonight. This is WQZ 645 Control, and the repeater is now being returned to normal operations.
(664) from WRCM 701.